out by Green. Throws it back up top. James puts up the three. Oh, it's good! LeBron James from downtown.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Three Guys with Mike. I'm William Joe, my two co-hosts,
Jeremiah, little man.
And this is a video that I've been waiting to record. This is a video that I've been wanting to record. I don't know if you guys have noticed yet, but I'm a Boston Celtics fan. Last night, I was bored, about 1 in the morning, and I was like, wait, some guy on TikTok was telling me how this Boston Celtics roster got worse. So I went back, screenshotted it. Patchy, if you could throw up the screenshot right here. And man to the right of me, Jeremiah Whitmer, said unfortunately, rosters get better or worse. And for the Celtics, they got worse. And I was baffled. I honestly did not know how the Boston Celtics got worse. Especially when you get a player like Dennis Schroeder, who everyone thought was going to be a guy who could, come in, relieve the scoring off of the two scorers. Didn't work out. Then they get Derek White. As you know, Derek White, not really popping off on the stat sheet on offense, but on defense, he's contributing a bunch, and he's making big shots when you need him to. Boston Celtics, as of tonight, are 9-1 in the last 10 games. I don't know the stats for the last 25 past 30 games, but they, statistically, best defense since the January 1st. Jason Tatum is now averaging 27, 8, and 4, which is amazing, considering when you're also levitating your team. They came from 10-11 to now 4th, competing for the 3rd and 2nd seed. I think that's insane. I think the Boston Celtics, as of right now, to me are the second best team in the East. Obviously, the Nets have full strength. I still have them at number 1, still giving them their respect. But to me, the Celtics, you know what Marcus Smart is doing, handling the point guard role, facilitating the ball very well. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who I was told should be broken up, should be separated because they're not having success in the first 2 months of the season, which I know that's when reputations were made in November and December of the NBA season. Let's not forget, these two guys made the playoffs every single year they've been together. 2 Eastern Conference Finals. But yeah, let's go back to your take. Boston Celtics got worse, right? Right? Go ahead, elaborate on that.
Tonight, I tell you this, gentlemen. In the playoffs, I know your Boston Celtics have had so many runs at the Philadelphia 76ers, and they sent them packing many times. I'll tell you right now, they play the 76ers with James Harden, with Tobias Harris, okay, with Maxey playing insane, with them shooting the lights out, with George Niang, right? With them shooting the lights out of the building. You're telling me you're beating that team?
Yeah, the MVP.
Oh, Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid didn't even play today. He didn't even play today, and Maxey still got the dub.
Let me ask you this.
No, don't interrupt me when I'm talking to you.
Let me ask you this. Before tonight, did you check out what the Sixers were doing? Embiid was playing horrible for the past 2 to 3 games. James Harden wasn't doing what he was doing.
So the 76ers are 6-4 in their last 10 games. So
compared to 9-1.
Okay.
Also, let's not
forget,
forget
up one team.
Let's not forget.
Gotcha. Okay. They're still sitting at 2nd in the East, right?
3rd.
Tell them who the
76ers are 2nd in the East. Second in the East. First is the Heat. Don't disrespect the Heat at all. How you don't disrespect the Heat and put the Nets at number 1?
They just lost to the Sixers without Harden or
Yeah,
Embiid.
but the 76ers were also at home.
Is that discrediting, or are you giving
the
credit
Heat
to...
aren't a pushover by any means. They have one of the deepest rosters in the NBA. I've said it multiple times. They have one of the deepest rosters in the NBA. Yes, Celtics are good. Yeah, congrats. Oh my God, you guys are so good. You can't get out of the East, Will. You cannot get out of the East. You have never done it with Jason Tatum. You have never done it with Brown. You can give him Kemba Walker. You can give him Kyrie. You give him whoever. You give him Gordon Hayward. Give him whoever you want. They're not going to get out of the East, Will. And it's not going to change this year either, Will.
Okay,
God, keep talking, bro. Keep talking.
Let's go back about your Sixers.
I'm not a Sixers fan.
No, let's go back.
I'm a Nuggets fan.
Think about it. The last meaningful game that the Sixers had.
I'm not even taking the Sixers in the East.
That had playoff atmosphere. What did James Harden do? Do you know what he did? We both watched in the same room together. Did you see what he did?
At one point, he was 1 for 10 in that game.
Thank you. And again, I'm not saying the Celtics are going to blow over everybody. I'm saying right now, how can you deny from the stats that are showing that they are playing the best basketball in the Eastern Conference? I still love the Bucks. I still love
the last 10 games. Yes,
Will. Not in the last 10 games since January 1st. It's March, by the way. They have the best, but aside from the Suns, they have the best. They have the most wins aside from the Suns. So
since January 1st.
Since January 1st, and since Jaylen Brown tweeted the energy is about to shift. Jaylen Brown tweeted that, and ever since then, they went on a crazy tear.
Just because the tweet got it.
Yes. Let's not forget Grant Williams, new nickname Batman. I love it. It is the greatest thing ever. It is actually the Grant Man. Actually, it's catching on, which I thought I was never going to catch on. But I'm excited to see that. Aaron, what do you think about the Celtics?
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Actually, 9-1.
Thank you.
Considering who they have on the roster.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say as deep of a team as many people think they are. They're honestly just, they go out there and they play hard. That's literally all it is. It kind of reminds me of the Suns without D-Book and Chris Paul, how hard they play when it comes to when they face better opponents. As in like the Lakers, right? Didn't have Chris Paul or I think Ayton either. Or maybe he was there. But they just played hard. They fight to the very last second. And I think that's what the Celtics do. But where their fall off is, in my opinion, honestly, has to be who they will face in the playoffs in the first round.
Yeah.
So if they get stuck playing Brooklyn, I think it might be a repeat of last year. If they get stuck playing, who else is there at 7?
Raptors.
The Raptors. God.
Dude, my knees are shaking.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think Boston wins that easy. I think it's just. Listen. If they don't play the Nets first round, their second round.
I think if you're the Celtics, you have to shoot for 2 or 4. I feel like you want to avoid in the second round going against the Heat. I feel like you just gotta try to get the best seeding you can, and you might. I don't think the Celtics will look at it this way because they don't really. I don't feel like any NBA team really fears another team. But remember the Clippers a few years ago? They were trying to avoid the Lakers until the Western Conference Finals. I think that's something that could be looked at a strategy thing. But I still don't think the Celtics will really care who they play. And I don't think any other team in the East will look at it like that. But either way, the margin for error is just, it's so close. You look at 1 through 7, and all these teams are a few games away from each other.
And to me, it's still with the Celtics. For them to get past the second round this year, regarding who they play, I think their only problem is honestly having a true point guard.
Yeah, Marcus Smart filled that role. We're fine.
A true point guard, I'll say again. And then a deeper bench.
Oh, tell me how many teams in the East have a true point guard.
Kyrie
now,
Irving.
moving on.
Kyrie Irving is a true point guard.
We gotta move on, gentlemen.
True point guard.
As in what? As in what?
Not in Marcus Smart. What does Marcus Smart do?
Defend.
Okay.
Is that a true point guard? Is that all true point guards do?
What does Kyrie do that's a true point guard?
Who in the East?
No, answer my question. No, answer my question. What does Kyrie do that's a true point guard?
Score.
Marcus Smart.
No, I got you bad, bro. He got you bad.
Playmates, exactly. No. Thank you. Playmates. Marcus Smart is filling in that role. I'm not saying he's the best.
Marcus Smart is also hated in the playoffs by Celtics fans for all the stupid crap he does.
What Celtics fans have you talked to?
You're not the only Celtics fan. I test. I go on Twitter. I do my due
Moving on. We have
No. He said a true thing of a point guard is defense. Are you serious?
You're saying what does Marcus Smart do? I'm saying he plays defense.
Defense, that's it, right? Okay, but what else?
What do you mean that's it? He's also been
trying to play clamp defense.
A true point guard.
I know.
You're trying to say
that's why he's not in the playoff picture.
You're trying to say he's a true point guard based off of him defending.
I'm saying he's filling in that role, and you said Kyrie is a true point guard. Okay, name him. How about everybody else? Drew Holiday, you can name him. Who else in the East has a true point guard on their team?
Kyle Lowry.
Who else in the East has a true point guard? James Harden is a true point guard. Kyle Lowry.
Darius Garland.
You didn't tell me Kyle Lowry.
Darius Garland.
Playing true point guard. What does a true point guard mean? You mean someone who starts and is good at that position?
Playmaking, scoring.
Marcus Smart has been a phenomenal playmaker since he's filled that role.
Facilitating.
Game changers. Have you seen what Marcus Smart has done in his career?
So you're telling me Marcus Smart has won more playoff games than he's lost for the Celtics?
Yeah. What are you talking about? They have a plus record with him as a starter.
Alright guys, we have a second part to this video to get to. Please, for the love of God. Moving on to the Western Conference. Your team's in the Western Conference. My team's in the Western Conference. My Nuggets are, about a week and a half ago, I was going to say sitting pretty at 6.
So you ran into the Celtics. And they got blown out. Sorry, go ahead.
So the last 10 games were 6-4, which is not bad, but not bad by any means. You know, Will Barnes serviceable. Will Barnes is a great part of this team. Monte Morris is a great part of this team, right? DeMarcus Cousins signed for the rest of the year. Great part of this team, right? Just a pure bully, an old school enforcer. Coming off the second team, Bones Highland is proving to be a phenomenal young talent on this team, and that's something moving forward that is gonna be able to build around, right? And he's coming back, okay? The Blue Lightning is coming back. Michael Porter Jr. is going to come back as well. Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. are going to be a part of this team moving into the playoffs. And I'll tell you right now, when you have the change of pace that we have with our second team, oh Lord, have mercy, I pray, for anybody we play against. I pray. They have no idea what's going to hit them with this Nuggets team. The comeback kids. You remember that, little man? You remember the comeback kids? Because I remember the comeback kids. That's when I started watching basketball.
Said I pray.
That's when I started watching basketball.
I pray for you. They make it out the first
round.
round.
Okay. Yeah. Keep talking about my Nuggets, okay? Looking at the bigger picture here. Because I'm not biased like William Duarte right here, okay? I look at the big picture. The Suns... Last episode we recorded on NBA, we said the Suns is not even close. Suns are gonna finish first, and that's true.
Yeah.
The Grizzlies are sitting at second in the West. They're 9 games behind, right? It's not gonna happen. The Suns aren't gonna drop 15 games. You know what I mean?
There's only 9 games left.
Warriors are at 3rd. Jazz are at 4, right? Dallas Mavericks are at 5. Let me find the Lakers. Let me just scroll down here. Lakers. Hey, they won today. They beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? And what was a very good game. I watched that game at work. Hope I don't get fired for saying that. Watched the game at work, right? It was a surprising game. At home for Cleveland Cavaliers. Kind of return game for LeBron. Troy started his career, right?
What the
and
hell?
LeBron absolutely dominated. Took over that game. Bumped them back up to 9. They were at 10. Now they're back up to 9. Pelicans lost, right? Great news for you Lakers fans, right? Pelicans dropped back to 10. Lakers are fighting. They're climbing. They're doing everything they can.
They should be on a 3-game winning streak, by the way.
But they're going to play the 76ers. So, Lamar, why don't you go and talk about your Lakers?
They're going to play the 76ers.
Why don't you go and talk about your Lakers, huh?
I mean, they could win that game.
And I'm going to say this right here. All your problems aren't going to be solved because Anthony Davis comes back and plays.
But they will be if Jamal Murray comes back? Or MPJ
and
comes
Michael.
back?
No. Both.
Our problems are solved because we have Wendy and Gabriel. That's why.
DJ Augustine too. DJ Augustine too.
Our problem will be solved when THT is back in the G League. I'll tell you that right now. That man's terrible. But yes, they are fighting for a playing spot. Regardless who they play. If they don't play the Clippers first game, I think they'll win. But if they end up seeing the Clippers in the second playing game, I think they're done.
Never heard a Lakers fan ever admit that. At least admit that.
I think they're done. The Clippers are the better team for obvious reasons.
Damn, bro, you just
what is it? 6-7 straight. They just play with more heart than the Lakers, more effort. They get out coached, out schemed, which is very surprising.
You're just bailing on the whole team, huh?
But then again, I mean, if you think about it, the Clippers do have a lot of things going towards the Lakers, like Ty Lue winning his championship, and the Lakers kind of gave up on him in the head coaching stuff. And then just simply the Clippers, the Battle of LA that they tried to put on us in 2020, which is the only year we're probably ever going to get that. Just like how the Lakers and Nets finals are going to happen. It's kind of like the same thing.
Yeah.
But yes, the Clippers are a better team, and if they do have to face them in any type of playing situation, which they probably are,
hang on,
it's going to happen.
My thing is though, listen, I kind of agree with what you're saying, but we haven't seen the Lakers and Clippers play in a scenario like that. We've seen them play in the regular season when it's kind of like a whatever game, but we haven't seen them because we still know LeBron James might still be, if not, he is the best player in the NBA right now. He leads the league in scoring at 30 points a game. We never know LeBron in a one-game scenario could turn it on at any time. You, for some reason...
No, I agree.
Okay, I was about to say.
I agree.
Listen, regardless of how Russ has been playing as of late, he's still playing pretty decently. Even tonight,
as of late,
he has been playing good. In the past few months, he's been playing breaking shots. But aside from that, he's filling up the stat sheets, filling up his role pretty well, and it seems like he's kind of falling into place. So I still think the Lakers have a really good chance. It's just gonna fall down to who they face in the first round.
I would really love for AD to come back and start, and for them to have a rotation somewhere in that, with Wendy and Gabriel coming off the bench with Stanley Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I would love for AD to come back. But what AD are we gonna see? Like honestly,
hey, if they play the Clippers and they got all three of them healthy, I know what AD I'm getting. If Dwight Howard can dismantle Zubac like that,
Zubac is the greatest player ever when he sees the Lakers lineup against him. I don't know what it is.
That is true.
So, two teams I want to mention, guys. Two teams that are surprisingly on the up and up, right?
Up and up.
Yeah. So the Mavericks are. The last 10 games are 7-3, right?
That's cute.
And the Timberwolves in the last 10 games are 8-2, right? Mm-hmm. Two teams that are climbing the ranks, right? Mavericks, as we all know, traded away the unicorn himself, Kristaps Porzingis, to the Wizards, and they got Spencer Dinwiddie,
who made a clutch shot against the Nets.
And Spencer Dinwiddie has really proven himself and solidified himself on this Dallas Mavericks team. You know what I mean? And it's the Dallas Mavericks. The story's always been. The offense disappears when Luka's off the court, right? Mm-hmm. And now they're at a point where Luka can rest. Luka can rest, 8 minutes if he has to, right? It sounds crazy, right?
Yeah.
But he can rest 8 minutes if he has to, right? Going to the Timberwolves,
Had a big win against the Lakers.
I mean, if it's a big win, but
They
I
talked
mean,
a lot too.
Pat Beverly has really changed, the philosophy of that team. Pat Bev, y'all know, black Air Force One energy. You know what I mean? But he's really solidified that team. You have Ant, you have D'Angelo Russell, you have Cat. You know what I mean? Like you have guys on that team who are solid starters, and they're not superstars, but you have
Aside from Cat, I would argue.
Oh
Cat
yeah, but you have a star in Ant, you have a star in D'Angelo Russell. He was an all-star in the Nets, right? Let's not forget that, right? Like they're both phenomenal players, and I believe they have a respectable big three. That's a big three I can respect.
Agree,
You know what I mean? Like that's a big three I wouldn't sleep on to play against. You know what I mean? The Timberwolves, they have a big three.
Double big three. Oh, Edwards and Russell.
And Cat, yeah.
Cat. I say Pat Bev.
No, Pat Bev. No, like I wouldn't. They're not gonna win the finals. But I wouldn't be surprised if they win a playoff series. Like, like they have a roster to win a playoff series.
Looking at it right now, they could play Memphis. And honestly, I love Memphis as a team. What they've done is great. But I still think that is a more even matchup than we realize. Having them at 2-7,
and like Timberwolves are complete. They're a complete team.
It could go either way when it comes to that series. So I think Timberwolves. I think it's great because they haven't really been shown love in the past years. And also, even right now, they're playing pretty well, and no one's really talking about them. I mean, the only time they get like mentioned on ESPN or anything is when they're talking about the Lakers, when they're trash talking them that one night. So it's like it's really good to see for the Mavs. Seeing them in the past games, they did beat the Celtics. I think a week ago they beat the Nets, so they did bring together a few good wins. And again, looking at the Warriors, what happened with Curry and his ankle injury, these the whole standings of the West are just gonna change now. You're not gonna have Curry. I do think the Warriors could kind of maintain, but it's gonna be interesting to see how these final 2-3 weeks play out.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, I agree.
So jumping forward, Aaron, what do you think about? Sorry, what do you think about
the Warriors?
Warriors, Timberwolves.
Timberwolves are playing.
They're playing.
Yeah, they're like 7 or 8.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, they're still playing now.
They'll be in the play-in. Regardless of who they play, just expect a fight, honestly. Especially if it's the Lakers, because damn well Pat Bev wants to run his mouth more than Russ and LeBron.
Oh man, I want to see that too.
Yes, that would be very hilarious. And as for the Warriors, as we all know, unfortunately, Steph Curry ankle was taken out.
Yeah.
By a certain someone, the truest of point guards. But I do think
plays hard.
I do think the Warriors. I don't know, because it's like they're stagnant when Draymond isn't there, but when Steph is out, I feel like you'll hear about more of the bad stuff they do than the good. Like, what did you say? They're like 7-3 in the past 10 games. Yeah. But how many games have they won without Steph?
None,
right? No. And that's where it comes down to.
And then Wiseman's also come back from the G League, though.
He's also coming back as well, yes. Yeah. But it's going to be like Jamal Murray and MPJ. He has to find his group first.
Yes.
Yeah,
and will they find it before they hit the playoffs?
We don't know.
Lord will never know.
Yeah.
But depending on how Steph Curry comes back on his ankle, I'm pretty sure everyone thinks it's going to come down to them and the Suns.
That's a fair assessment. Yeah, I can say that. Yeah.
But let's go into it. MVP talks. As you know, I say there's about a handful of guys in the league who we could kind of give mentions to when it comes to the MVP. Right now, I would say frontrunner is Joel Embiid. I would say he's the clear cut. I would say 2 is Jokic or Giannis. I think you can even throw in LeBron in there. But just the fact about LeBron.
How do you know this is going?
Just the fact about it that LeBron James hasn't really won his team any games, so it's kind of hard to. It's kind of the same thing with Steph Curry last year. There's another.
At least you admitted it.
But there's another man.
Oh my god.
JT just turned 24 years old. I don't think he's frontrunner for MVP. I don't think he's top 2 or top 3. But when you talk about the MVP, we talk about players who have elevated their teams and elevated their play, winning 2 Player of the Weeks in 1 month. Also, raising his average from just under 26 to now 27 in the span of 2 weeks. I think you have to look at Jason Tatum as at least a consideration for the MVP. Because if we're not... And again, do you agree with this? But he has to be 4th or 5th in the MVP? Tell me why not. Because DeMar DeRozan was in that consideration for doing the exact same thing.
I'll put him 5 if we agree Luka's 4.
Yeah, I think Luka has to be top 5.
Yeah, because...
He has to be top 5.
No, because if you put...
Top 5, yes.
So Luka 4, JT 5, I agree with.
Why? They're higher... Jason Tatum's higher in the standings, and he's been
Giannis,
playing better in the last 2 to 3 weeks.
Jason Tatum also has a better supporting cast. I've said this many times again. Just for those of you who don't know, I grill William. I dismantle every conversation argument he has in our Twitter. If those ever leak, his career is over before it even takes off.
Ready? This is gonna
But
piss you
who?
off.
Yeah, got him bad.
Who's at number 1 and number 2? Giannis has a great supporting cast. Joel Embiid has James Harden as his number 2.
He just got him.
But you're gonna use.
He just got him.
Jokic.
Jokic, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Jokic has been doing it without a supporting cast. He has gotten swept without a supporting cast. I support it.
Ready? Embiid, Jokic, Giannis,
Is it like Jokic Giannis like this?
Luka. No, Luka.
Ja?
You don't think John Morant's MVP talk?
I think he's not above Jason Tatum.
Bro, you're just a Celtics fan,
No,
bro.
listen,
You're just
listen,
a Celtics
Who's
fan.
John's supporting cast?
Bane?
Oh, now you're
Mike Conley?
You did not just say Mike Conley.
Steven Adams.
God. Steven Adams?
That was a joke from like 5 years ago. Listen, I still think that Jason Tatum, as of right now, you have to look at 6. That's fine. I'm just saying you have to consider him. You have to at least consider him. If DeMar DeRozan was a front runner at one
Think
point,
about it.
yes,
With KD?
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
If DeMar DeRozan was a consideration for having his team at number 1, 4 months. With 4 months left in the year, I think Jason Tatum, who's going into the playoffs with less than 10 games, has to be there.
If
And
DeMar,
I agree with that.
if DeMar even beat 5 top 3 teams, he'd be MVP talk.
Who?
DeMar. He's 0-13. 0-15 against top 3 seeds.
Yeah.
Oh, who has the best? Who has the best win loss against top seed? Do you know?
Celtics?
Yeah, the Celtics have the best win loss against top
Okay,
seed.
the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics.
Not Tatum. The
Not
Boston
Jason Tatum.
Who's at the forefront? And use that same argument. No, use that same argument. Use the same argument for every other player on that list.
What about a lock for defensive player of the year every year, Marcus Smart? What about having that guy on your team, right?
He's not a lock. He hasn't
okay.
even been considered for it. That's another thing I want to talk about. How's Marcus Smart not considered for it? It's Rudy Gobert every year. Robert Williams has to be on that
What about
list.
Jaylen Brown?
Nah, not Jaylen Brown. He's too
We
inconsistent.
just named 3 guys who heavily commit to that team.
Yeah.
Okay.
Name guys who you named guys earlier in this video for the 76ers. You named James Harden, Maxey, Toby Harris, whatever the hell you called him.
Toby Harris.
Toby Harris.
Toby Harris.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
plenty of guys who have supporting cast. So why does that play against Jason Tatum?
You see, the thing is,
That's
Joel
why
you're a
Embiid,
hater, yeah.
Joel Embiid elevates them. Like, he elevates them. Brown's good on his own. Brown could drop 50 on his own.
So
Look,
Harden
that's why-
sucks without a number 1 option.
No, listen, that's why I put Ja.
Harden is it? Are you what?
Oh my
I'm
god.
not gonna say he sucks.
That's why I put Ja and Jokic kind of high up my list.
No,
Listen, Jokic, I
but
wouldn't
this
say-
is great though. This is great though. 2 weeks ago, right before I went to go see Batman,
Wait,
the Celtics without Jaylen Brown completely dismantled John Morant. Jason Tatum was at the forefront. Had 22 points in the 4th quarter. John Morant also had a great game, but who won that game? Who's the one who elevated his team?
but this is what's funny though. Are we basing MVP off head-to-head matchups?
Yeah, because if that's the case,
right? No, that's
Embiid
what you're
is.
doing.
If that's the case, Embiid is taking out Jokic. We saw what happened last week.
Okay.
Jokic was
Yeah.
not a factor.
Yeah, I watched the game, okay? Yeah.
I know you
yeah,
did.
Yeah.
Let's also talk about it. A guy with no supporting cast. Jokic got dismantled by Jason Tatum last night. I've been waiting all year for a video like this. I am happy that these guys are in denial.
And in case you guys didn't know, in case you guys didn't know,
You
Game
waited.
7 of the finals was last night, guys. Yeah, in case you didn't know, the season's over, guys. Season's over. Like, come on, bro. Regular season? Oh wow.
Jamal Murray hasn't played
Cool,
basketball
bro.
in a year. He's gonna come back and just change his
Oh
team. They're gonna win the
my
West now.
God.
Is that it?
No, we're not gonna
Is that
win.
it?
We're not gonna win the West.
Thank you.
But
Thank
we're
you
gonna-
for being.
But we're gonna sneak into 5. We're gonna sneak into 5.
And you're gonna beat Luka.
We're gonna finish it. We're gonna finish the season strong.
You're beating Luka, who scores 3 points in the 4th quarter.
We're not gonna be Luka
the
alone.
playoff
We're
game.
not gonna be Luka alone. No.
Well, that does it for this video. If you agree with my Boston Celtics being the best team of all time,
Yeah.
or Jason Tatum at least being considered, you don't have to put him in top 5, top 3. At least have him
You
considered.
know, this will be good if he does. Maybe I'll give it to him because
They won't give it to him.
I found out damn near 3 weeks ago that the last MVP was Larry Bird.
Yeah.
And I was honestly shocked by that. I was
and
like,
you know who told?
surprisingly, this man
Mm-hmm.
You know,
knew that fact.
I know my facts.
He's on a
I
Celtics
Larry
hate
Bird.
I
race.
know my facts. I know my
It's
facts.
Larry Bird, kind of weird.
Thank you guys
But-
so much.
Would you
Watching
rather
this
have a fundamental power forward like Tim Duncan or Kobe Bryant? All right, Patrick,
I don't know.
Patrick, end the video.